Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on Brick to Click, filing cabinets to the cloud. My name is Lisa, and I'm excited to be here with you. Before we begin to our webinar, I would like to uh, share some guidelines and housekeeping items to ensure smooth and engaging webinar experience. So kindly mute your microphone to minimize background noise. If you have any question, please use the chat box on your right-hand side to have an engaging sessions. We encourage active participants to feel free to ask your questions and share your thoughts during the Q&A segment. Now, let's introduce our speaker. We have pleasure of hosting Miss Farah, who is our digital transformations consultant on AEC industry. She has a wealth of knowledge and experiences in digital transformations on construction industry. We are grateful to have her today to share insights with us. Without further, I will now hand over the virtual floor to Ms. Farah. Please join me in giving her a warm welcome and let's begin with the presentation.
Thank you, Lisa. I just want to check if everyone can hear me clearly.
Yes, Farah.
All right, good. Should I switch on my camera, Lisa?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, thank you for coming. This will be a very simple webinar. It's just sharing knowledge on certain parts of digital transformations. I hope I can bring an insight and another insight in terms of digital transformations, and I can create value at the end of the webinar. So let's start. From any other webinars, I will share my webinar with a story. It's a simple story about purchasing a pen. I'm very sure a pen is just not an asset. It's something that that is provided by the companies to staff. But back then, from my previous experience, where I need a pen, which definitely I cannot ask. Definitely I cannot ask from my boss a pen. What we do is actually he asked me to fill up a requisition form, as simple as a stationary requisition form. So from that stationary requisition form, I have to fill out the form, right? And then I have to get approval from my line manager. And then from there, I have to go to a purchasing department, which they have to do another approval from the manager from purchasing department. And then they will get an order to the supplier. So until then, there's a lot of processes that we have to go through just for the sake of piece of pen. So there's also a lot of documentation, there's a lot of communication just for a pen that will cost about RM1 to RM3. But the process is a little bit lengthy. So that is why ETMS come in place. So let me share with you what are the interesting things about ETMS that I find it personally. Why I say personally is, to be honest, before I embark into this industry, I do not know anything. I just know about document system where originally or traditionally they were put into a filing cabinets. So I've seen a lot of companies has a huge room of filing cabinets where they store all the documents. So it makes me wonder what will happen, knock wood, if there's any fire happens and what happens to the documents. And all the documents are a very important document, right? So how do we want to manage this? And how do we want to integrate this when digital documentations are a very popular thing nowadays? Okay, let me share you my screen. I hope everything can hear me clearly. Yeah. Let me see. Where is it? Just give me a second. Okay. So if you see my topic, from filing cabinets to the cloud, it's a little bit transparent. It's a bit straightforward, from filing cabinets to the cloud, not the literal cloud, but it's actually a cloud where we keep all our documents. So everything is on cloud-based now. We talk about our any data from our phones, for example, if you want to store pictures in your phones, we store it in the cloud. All right, so let's start. So what I will be talking today is First, we will talk about challenges in our document management, the traditional way, and then how does electronic document management system will be in place, and then we'll touch base in EDMS in constructions. We will talk about the great advantage of having EDMS in your organizations and choosing the right EDMS tool. What are the parts or what are the sentiments that you need to pay attention when you want to choose the right EDMS? And then also selecting the right vendor. And also I will show you a little bit sneak peek how does an EDMS interface will look like. Okay, let's get along. So let's talk about challenges in document management. So when I told you a story about a pen, so it's actually a challenge, a multiple layers of approval and a amount of documents, because just now I stopped until getting approval from purchasing department, but it will goes on from PO, codes, invoicing, DO, and then receipt. And then when you hand over the simple pen to the staff, you still need to do the certain kind of handover. That is just a simple example. But you see, it's very lengthy and it's actually can be a challenge as well. Okay, so challenges. The first challenge is document storage and organization. Sorry, document storage and organizations. So how do you store documents now? So you have a traditional paper-based filing system that usually someone will lost it, someone will misplaced it, someone accidentally threw it, and then what will happen with the document storage and organizations? And as I said just now, when you in a layman term, bila nak cari masa tu lah tak ada. When you don't need it, it's always there. But when you need it at this time, you always misplaced it. So these are the challenges, the prime challenges when you are maintaining a traditional paper-based filing system with the racks and the cabinets and all, right? So second challenge is compliance and regulatory requirements. So many industries have specific compliance and regulation that organizations must adhere to. This we talk about audits. So how many of you, I'm very sure, you will need to crack your head when audit comes. It's not because you are not complying. Maybe it's one of the reasons, but it mainly is not because complying. But most of the hard works, how the documents that they need from you, and you just don't know how to retrieve the document in time because they have a specific timeline that they need to complete the audit, and you have to adhere to that. And then you would know, it's the document is somewhere, it's just that you don't know where, right? So that is the second challenges. The third challenges is workflow automation. Manual document-centric processes can be time-consuming and prone to errors. Time-consuming, right? So time-consuming, where there's a certain workflow that you need to follow, and the documents are manual. Okay, and then there's a lot of errors where human errors. We're talking about human errors here, where they can accidentally change or they can accidentally delete it. So these are the challenges. And the fourth one is actually document retrieval and search. Locating specific document in large physical filing system can be time consuming and frustrating. I am very sure frustrating is a strong word, and frustrating is the right word to use here, because you need to retrieve document in time, and you need to retrieve the correct documents. There's often in organizations they have duplicates documents where they do not know which one is which one is the latest document. So with EDMS, we hope that it can help. And then collaboration of remote working environment. This is an in thing since the pandemic. So everyone, it will be on site, either on site or at home. So with a traditional paper-based filing system or traditional and manual paper-based documentations, you always need to go back to office just for a single signature. Talking about if, let's say, you are a manager, you just imagine how often you have to go back to office just because your staff need a single signature. I've been to office where the desk is full with papers and it's stacked. And then I asked the manager itself, why do you have so much documents on your table? And then he say, all this just need a single signature. So when you have that kind of stack of papers on your table, which you need to sign every each of it, how sure are you will not mislook the documents and you just sign it? You just blindly sign. Okay, I'm not going to touch more on that because it can be a sensitive issue sometimes. So these are the challenges that we have in EDMS. Okay, challenges in document management system, the traditional plan. Okay, so let's talk about electronic document management system. So to understand electronic document management system, I think it's not an issue because its document management system has been placed years ago, 100 years ago. It's just that we put the word electronic. So we understand that we digitalize document management system into a very trendy ways, most effective and also productive. That would increase the productivity of your staff. So EDMS is actually talking about a robust software designed to centralize organization dynamic and often complex engineering documents, drawings, and data, thereby replacing outdated, disparate, or manual system. We're talking about a robust software. How robust it is? So you have to wait until at the end of my webinar. I will show you. Okay, and then this ETMS also not only managing your document, it also provide a single and consistent source of truth that streamline collaboration, facilitate compliance, ensure safety, simplify documents version control, and also this is the most importantly is lead to significant efficiency and ROI. So I know at the back of your mind, you will wonder how will these return to your ROI. So we will talk more about this later, yeah? EDMS in construction. So talking about constructions, I have a sister that she is working with a big developer or main contractors, and she's working on a mega project. I'm not going to disclose which project, but the project has just ended. She's in the process of a handover. So she's an engineer. So every morning, I will always call her because we don't really meet very often, even though we are still nearby. So every morning, I will call her and just to change, we just want to update ourselves. So recently, for the past 3 days, I could not call her. So finally, she sent me a text that she said, I'm sorry if I use this word, yeah, busy gila. I was wondering why the project has ended. What does she means by busy gila? So what she meant was actually, and then she start sending me pictures of her cars, her tiny car. She's driving a Suzuki Swift, her tiny car, full with documents. We're talking about we're talking about plans, all the blueprints, all the papers. She stacked everything in a car because she needs to transfer all the documents from her office to the client's office. So she is in the process of doing handover, and it's time consuming. And then she even called my car because I drive a little bit bigger car, a space cost me, not an expensive car, but it's just a bigger car. So sometimes she called me and she said, "Can I borrow your car because I have a lot of documents that I need to submit to my client's office, and I cannot do multiple trips." So I asked her, how long has this been happening? And then she said she's been doing this for past 3 months during the handover session. You see, it's a $1 billion project, but she still has to do it manually. Why? So I asked her, does your company invest in something, EDMS or something? She said yes, but we don't really use it. So this is why I have to transfer all the documents. You see, this is the problem. It's time consuming because from my point of view, instead of using your engineer to do all the paperwork and handovers, why don't you get a software or a tool that can do it for you easily, right? So let's talk about EDMS in constructions. So who can benefit into EDMS? So we can talk about project owners, designer, PMC, project management consultant, investment operator, supplier itself, general contractor, subcontractors, and project team. So you see the whole thing, basically it's everybody in the project. Whoever involved in the project can benefit into this. What you just need to do is to just allow access. Who can approve, who can adjust, who can amend. You have the power to do it. You just choose who can do each activities. So basically, one platform, one EDMS can be used to everybody, can be used to every departments of the projects. Okay, let's move. What's so good about EDMS? So the great advantage, I call it the great advantage. Okay, you see, answering back to all the challenges. So centralized document storage. So EDMS provides a centralized digital repository for all construction-related documents, including plans, blueprints, contracts, permit, and other project documentation. If you want to relate back to the story of my sister struggling hard with the handover, so you just imagine all these plans, blueprints will be stored into EDMS tools, and then she just need to submit to the clients because it also involves the suppliers on the project owner. So you save a lot of times there. And then audit trails and compliance. Construction projects require adherence to regulatory and safety standard. So which means you will not have a missing documents. You can provide the documents in time. So then you meet your audit target. So if you succeed in audits, you know what will happen then, right? And then version control and revision tracking. In construction projects, numerous revisions are made to drawing, plans, and other documents. I'm very sure you are very aware amounts of amendment of change RFQ or RFI needs to be done in certain drawings and plans. So the commenting is one thing. To get the follow-up from the other person, it's time consuming. Just because I need to go back to office just to rectify this. So with EDMS in hand, remotely, they can do anywhere. And then this is where mobile accessibilities. Construction professional often works on site and may need access to critical documents on their mobile devices. So you don't have to go back to office then. So you just do it from your mobile. It's secure, and then you just do your approval. You don't have to go back to office. And then your internal clients will receive the prompt response from you. So you save a lot of time there. And also, last one, improve document retrieval and search. With the vast amount of documents generated during the construction projects, finding a specific information quickly is essential. I tell you why. In EDMS, all documents are stored based on workflow. So I'm not sure if maybe you are a well-organized people, but I am not. So what I have in my desktop right now is actually I have a lot of folders. In a folder, there's a folders. In a small folders, subfolders, there's another folders. But there's a lot of folders going on and my documents are everywhere. So most of the time, what I would do is I just click the button search and search for my document. And the amounts of duplicate documents in my computers is a lot. Okay, so this is the manual way. Even though we use computer to start documents, but the manual way is just to control F or search my documents and I find it there. But with the ADMS, it goes with workflow. So every each of workflow, there's a button for you to retrieve the document. So you or your staff has no excuses that I don't know where's the document. Give me 5 days to look for it. You don't need 5 days, you just need 5 minutes or even less than that. Okay, so that's the benefit of EDMS. So let's talk about the statistic. So according to a study by AVW, a regular sized company, a regular one, can save time spent in manual file sharing by up 80% when using document management system. Okay, so 80% time saved. So there's a lot of time. So if let's say we calculate about 10 hours, you save 8 hours to look for a document. So 40% reduction in document-related costs when using a document management system, 40% reduction, 404 return on investment, ROI, 404, yeah, and 10% reduction in overall operation expense, and 30% of fewer error when using a document management system. All these are on electronic document management system. So the statistic is there, but are the users out there? I'm not sure. Because as far as I know, there's not a lot of people who are actually prone into EDMS, but we get there. Powerful and flexible processes. So in EDMS, not only to store documents, but it's also manage, plan, operate, control, digitalize, integrate, and analyze. You just imagine in one single platform, in one single tool, you can do all this. So you do not have a different tools, or you do not have a different software to do all this, but you just need one platform and you can manage, you can plan, you can operate, and etc. All right. Next one, choosing the right EDMS tool for your business. There will be a lot EDMS tool. Yeah, there's a lot. But how do you want to make sure this is the right one? So I will show you the guideline, how you want to choose, because it's not fair for me just to say, but about how well ETMS is, but I have to also tell you how to choose a good ETMS tools. First, you have to identify pain points and objectives. We're talking about what are your struggle in your organizations. Do you often have a misplaced document? Do you have always a lengthy process? Is it difficult for your staff to do a certain updates and follow up? You have to identify that, because without failing to identify, you will be ending up getting a tool that you don't know what to use for. And then secondly, you will need to know who are the stakeholders that will involve in these tools. Who will be the user? Will be executive, will be the manager, or will be the project owner itself. You will need to know who are the stakeholders. Third one, assess document types and volume, how big your documents is, how important your document is. Then you have to assess all the documents. And then the fourth part is actually you have to evaluate integration requirements. We're talking about an organization that has been in the industry for past 50 years. Does integration needed? Do you need to integrate the whole 50 years of projects into the tools, or you just need to do a few? You see? Then fifth, security and compliance needs. This is the most important. Whenever I go to any organization, they will always worry about security and compliance needs. So you have to evaluate your state of security and compliance needs. Collaboration and workflow. You will need to know all the workflow, and then how you want to work with ETFS. And then the last part is actually identify critical project department and set as priority. To explain further on item number 7, if you are actually here on behalf of your organization, you must be thinking that there's a lot of department will need to use this ETMS, right? But you will also think that there's too much department involved. It's a lot of money, right? So you don't have to go big. You just start small with the most critical and crucial department. Then you set that as a priority. So maybe you will go for construction, maybe on project team on certain projects. You start there first. You try and see if it's working, because it's not fair for me to say to use ETMS for the whole organization, because you don't know you don't know if it's this working for your company or not. So you identify the critical project or department and set that as a priority first. Next one. So what are the cool things about ETMS? Features and functions that you need to look into. So as I said, ETMS tools are a lot out there, but what are the most trendy, not trendy, I can't say trendy, the most crucial part, the features in ETMS? First, document management in constructions, document management, 3P management, finance, change request, risk management, process management, BIM viewer, building information modeling viewer, and BIM Pro, lesson learned, issue management, and analytics. These are the features and functions ideally should have in your ETMS tool, because you see it covers the whole project lifecycle. Okay, next one. So selecting an ideal vendor. So if you know your pain points, you know you go through all the steps. You see what you have to evaluate, and you know what you need to do now. Then it goes to selecting an ideal vendor. As I said, there's a lot of vendor out there. There's a lot of softwares out there, and there's a lot of tools. So how do you want to choose the best one? I'm not saying that this is the best, this is the best. No, I'm not. Okay, but what I'm trying to try to help you is actually to select an ideal vendor. Of course, there are the criteria. So these are the most popular criteria. All right, so functionality and features. You see the table that I put out just now, all the features and functions. So you have to look into that. Can they cover your 3P management? Can they cover your finances? Because different tools have different features and functions. And then data ownership and portability. Do they provide you support and training? Because talking about software, we cannot put any Tom, Dick, and Harry just in front of the PC and they just do good with the software, right? So you have to send them for support and training. Does the vendor provide support and training? customization and flexibilities. Different organization works in a different way. They have different tools that they want to have in their features and functions. They have different needs. They have different objectives, right? So can these tools be customized, and are these tools flexible? So the next one will be security and compliance. You are putting all your data in the tools. They will be stored in the cloud. Are they secure or not? Scalability, ease of use, and user interface. All right. There's a lot, as I said, there's some EDMS tool has been in the industry for so long, and the interface is a little bit how can I say this in the right way? The interface can be a little bit less edgy, whereby all your staff, or maybe nowadays, people are very used into an edgy and friendly interface. So because if, let's say, the user find it a little bit difficult to use or a little bit uneasy to see, they tend not to use it. So your implementation will be failed because your user just refused to use because it's just less interesting and it's just a lot of more of things to understand and it's a lot more hard work. So ease of use and user interface, I find it personally is important. And also you must see if your vendor is an experienced vendor. All right. If they have a lot of if they provide this EDMS tool with other organizations, and how well they manage your data. So these are the things that you need to look into. All right. So as I say, I hope during these sessions you understand what I'm trying to say, because I am trying as best I can to use a layman term, and in a language, not a layman term, in a language that I think that I can understand myself and you can understand. So understanding all the features and functions. So I will show you from these features and functions. So these are the interface. Let me show you. Document management. You see, these are the interface. You can see a little bit this one there. So document management. So this is where they put all the documents. So if let's say you are interested, we can arrange you for a demo so that I can show you, because this is just a screenshot. I can show you how you can retrieve a data for every single button here. Right? So this is on document management. This is on 3P management. So this is the best part, and this is actually the killer screenshot that I have now. So basically, from this drawing, you can see you can see on my right hand side, you can see all is the progress, it's the remarks from there. So you don't have to have your blueprints and then you have to, getting a different kind of information from another stacks of paper. So you can have it here. All right. So it saves times also. You don't have to call the whole department for a meeting just to discuss this, right? That's from my point of view. Okay, move along. So that will be finance. So everything is here. So you know how much money that you have spent so far. So you don't have to crack your head every time to get a certain report from your bosses. And also, these are the dashboards. Okay, I think that's all. Am I moving too fast? I hope I'm doing cool, okay? All right, so that's all for now. I hope you understand my passion about digital transformations. So basically, I start with ETMS, and I believe it would be a very good tools for your organizations, because from my personal experience, I didn't embark in this industry. It's not that I just graduate and I just masuk sini. No, it's not that. I have to go. I work as a receptionist before. I was a telemarketer. I was a the documents. I work in HR. So the amounts of documents that I have to manage each time it's huge. We're not talking about construction itself, we're talking about any other industries. For example, I work in a company where they are using a manual payroll and the company is doing a service. We maintain a lot of manpower. So in payroll, each month we have during that time they have about 2,300 and 500 staff. So every month they will have, I don't know, let's do a quick math. 2,500 staff every month times 30 days of working. So they have everything is manual. So the managers have to endorse each day. And it's not a punch card, it's just a normal A4 paper that they have to fill up. And the amount of documents stack 2,500 each month for 30 days. And they have been going there for 20 years. So they do have a filing cabinet, but that's not enough. They have to rent another warehouse just to store everything. So it's painful. When it comes to audit, of course they want to audit that. They will not talk about the documents that submitted last month, right? So they will talk about documents submitted on 2019 perhaps. So we have to go back to the warehouse and dig all the documents just for a piece of paper, just to get the right tick from the audit. You know, the amount of hassles I have go through. So that's why I'm a bit passionate about EDMS, because I think that would be a very good tools for that. So let's talk about, if we go back into construction, so just imagine the amount of documents that you need to use, the amount of paper that you need to use for a single project. So that's something that you will need to think about. So I hope you get what I'm trying to point out, I'm trying to deliver, and I hope I create value. So if you have any questions, you can ask me.
If you have any questions, you can drop on the chat box given.
Or maybe you can say I talk too fast, I am not. Maybe any comment, you can just talk to me. Oh, thank you, Firdaus. I hope you understand every parts of about the parts of things that I've been talking about. I hope. Any questions? All right. Thank you, Firdaus. But if you have any further questions, you can always call me. So maybe you can just give me a call. Anything? Any questions?
So far, we have a question right now.
Thank you, Hayati. Oh, it can be an expensive exercise. How can this help in terms of ROI? Okay, that's a very good question. How can this help in terms of ROI? This can be a very sensitive part to talk about, but let me share with you from a meeting that I came back from. This meeting was about 3 months ago. I think 3 to 4 months ago. I met the operation director, and his concern is actually this will be a very expensive tools, right? And if I use this, I will lose a lot of money because my staff doesn't know how to use, right? So let's look into this again. When you use EDMS, there's a lot of benefits. Let's go back to the benefits that I showed you earlier. So you have centralized document storage, right? And then it provides a centralized digital repository for construction-related documents, including plans, blueprints, contract permits, and other projects. And then your audit trails and compliance, version control and version tracking, mobile accessibilities, and it's actually a lot of things that it can be done to save your time. So you save, I'm not saying that you need to cut your manpower, no. But if let's say you have this EDMS tool, it's actually help your staff and it will increase productivity. So how this will be a return to ROI is actually statistically 80% will save, 80% of time will be saved during electronic document management system. So which means you save a lot more time, you save a lot more money from papers, and then also you do not have to conduct a lot of meetings, which will consume time, right? And also if let's say you have this EDMS in place, you will increase your staff productivity and you will get more projects. So you are doubling up your projects because it's too efficient. Your staff is very efficient, so you need more projects. So that is how you will get back your money from in return ROI. Because you like it or not, you will save a lot of, you don't cut your manpower, but you just increase your staff productivity. So I hope that answers the questions. Any questions submitted, Lisa? Terima kasih. Terima kasih. Saya memang sentiasa bersemangat. Terima kasih. Okay.
I think there is another question.
Oh, more questions. For that. if you want to know what is the most ideal, you can always give me a call. You can always email me or call me. That I will be able to show you the list of ETMS tools that we have in market. And then also I can really help you hand in hand to choose the most ideal ETMS. Because as I say, every ETMS tool has different features and functions. So you will need to know how to choose based on the features and functions. Because sometimes if let's say you go to the most high-end ETMS, but the most high-end ETMS, but you might just use about 30% of it. So it's just a waste of money. That's from my point of view. But if let's say you need smaller features, but you go for you go smaller features, but you go for a lesser one. So actually, it's a little bit unique. How do I? That's how I put it. So you can always give me a call. No obligations. I will be able to go to your organizations and just to explain you in detail what do we have, because EDMS is just a start of digital transformations. There's a lot more after that. So after EDMS, what else and what else, I'll be able to show you. So that's about it.
Okay, if there is no more questions, as we came to the end of today's webinar, I would like to thank Ms. Farah for sharing the most valuable insights about EDMS to us. And I also like to thank all the participants for joining today's webinar and have an active engagement. Please kindly register yourself, your attendance to the link given, as we will be emailed to you the e-certificate of this webinar. And also for further regarding our webinars, please kindly check on our website for upcoming webinar link. And thank you for the team, and thank you again for joining our webinar sessions. And we will meet you next time. Thank you.